Hi, hello, how are you? How are you doing? How's your day going? So I don't usually do stuff like this. I mean, I don't, do stuff in general, but I like Marvel, and I have opinions about it, and I want to force those opinions on unassuming people on the internet. So here I am. The new Black Panther movie came out like 2 weeks ago, and I only just now saw it because I have higher priority. So I thought today would be all nice and fun to, give you my thoughts on it. It's, tell you, do a little review thing, or whatever. So, here we go. I think just what they were able to do with this was really impressive because, in case you hadn't heard, they were dealt a very bad hand. Having the script basically finished and then the passing of Chadwick Boseman is basically worst case scenario, and they still had to work around that and find a way to make it work, meanwhile still making a good movie, and they did it, which is it's very impressive. But did I even like the movie? Well, let's find out. Let's start with the things I didn't like. Some of the things I didn't like were that it felt unnecessarily long, and there were a lot of points in the movie where you could kind of feel the runtime, and it felt like it kind of dragged a little bit. But at the same time, it's kind of funny, because I like to think that they heard everybody complaining about how short, Love and Thunder and Multiverse of Madness were. They're just like, I mean, all right, let's give the people what they want, and then they just gave them an absurdly long movie that could have done without a little bit of time. This one's sort of a nitpick because it kind of goes for all of Phase 4 in general, but the CGI was a little bit wonky at times, which is still very much a nitpick because for the most part the CGI in this movie was pretty good. It also felt kind of random in the final battle that there were just a bunch of Wakandans in robot Iron Man-like suits, because you just have a bunch of these Wakandans with spears doing this awesome hand-to-hand combat, and then you just have these people in full-on robot suits, and it felt kind of out of place and random. But my biggest complaint about this movie is there was not enough M'Baku, okay? We stand M'Baku. M'Baku was the best part of this movie. Heck, he's the best part of the entire MCU. He is the face of the MCU, and there simply was not enough of him in this movie. So hear me out. I've come up with an idea to fix this problem, and as a little bonus thing, Marvel could possibly even beat Avatar for the highest grossing film of all time. So hear me out. They re-release Wakanda Forever in theaters as the M'Baku cut, which just has 20 minutes of extra runtime. That's just M'Baku doing literally anything, just sitting down, making some soup or something. I don't know. He looks like a man that eats his soup. People eat this stuff up. People love seeing a man eat his soup. Sign my change.org petition today to get the M'Baku cut as soon as possible. But anyways, now that all that stuff is out of the way, let's move on to the things that I did like. The transition to Shuri being the new Black Panther was very well done. It just felt natural, this was almost supposed to happen from the beginning. I've seen a lot of people saying that they should have recast T'Challa, and part of me kind of agrees with that, but at the same time doesn't, because on one hand, there's still a lot of stories to tell with T'Challa in the MCU. There's so much more you can do with him and so many more impacts he can have on the universe. But at the same time, recasting him would just feel kind of weird, because I feel like he's one of those actors that just portrayed the characters so perfectly. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, or Sir Patrick Stewart as Professor X. You wouldn't try to recast Sir Patrick Stewart as Professor X. You wouldn't try to recast, J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, because they just played those characters so perfectly that if you tried to get another actor, it just wouldn't be the same. And I feel like the same kind of goes for Chadwick Boseman, that he played him so perfectly that it just wouldn't be the same with a different actor. Also, this is kind of a small thing, but I do think that Shuri's Black Panther suit does kind of slap a little bit, just a little bit. I also really like Namor as the villain, because we really got to see why he's doing this. Literally getting to see his home and see what he's protecting. It kind of made you, I guess, empathize with him a lot more. He's also just cool. I like his wing feet. I also really like that scene at the beginning, or near the beginning of the movie anyways, where it's like all the US like marine or like underwater guys are like taken out by like the people from Avatar. I also thought that the way they ended the movie was kind of perfect, with just all the flashbacks of T'Challa, and then it just ending right there, and all of like the end credits just being like the credits in front of the burning clothes. I thought that was pretty perfect. And whenever we found out that T'Challa like had like a son, my man got the girl, and like whenever like the kid just said like, "My name is Prince T'Challa, I'm the son of King T'Challa," I was just like, no. Also pretty similar to the first one, this almost felt like it could stand on its own, like separate from the MCU. Because aside from like a mention of Thanos' snap and a Hulk reference, this really has little to no connections to the MCU, and it feels much more like a sequel to the first Black Panther than just another installment of the MCU. Also, bro, the movie, the emotions hit in this movie, let me tell you. Now we're going to move on to the final ratings. For this rating system, I'm going to be using the Jeff Goldblum head system. How this works is I'm going to rate 5 categories on a scale of 1 to 10 Jeff Goldblum heads. I'm going to add up all the scores, and then we will get our final rating. So comedy, I'm going to give 8 out of 10 Jeff Goldblum heads. There aren't a ton of jokes in here, because for the most part this is a more serious Marvel movie, but there still are a good amount of funny moments, and they're really well balanced out with all the serious moments. It's not like an overload of comedy. Although I will say that there were some parts with Riri that the jokes she were making just kind of felt unnecessary and a little bit forced. Then action, I'm going to give 9 out of 10 Jeff Goldblum heads. The action sequences in this went unnecessarily hard. We had some really cool like hand-to-hand combat, as well as, you know, the signature Marvel CGI battles. Also, the fight that Okoye had on the bridge was just so awesome. Overall story, I'm gonna give an 8.5 out of 10. It's a very strong and powerful and emotional and sad and emotional and sad and strong and power and wealth and power and wealth and wealth and story. It's very well fleshed out, although some things that characters did just kind of felt, I guess, a little bit illogical, and like they could have done something completely different and it would have worked out better. But I guess, you know, the story has to happen, sir. Suspense, I'm going to give 6.5 Jeff Goldblum heads out of 10. If I'm being honest, there weren't a whole ton of points throughout the movie where I necessarily felt like on the edge of my seat. There were still a lot of great suspenseful moments, and just like where you kind of wondering what's gonna happen next, like with Namor, whatever, whichever one makes you more upset. Like him flooding Wakanda and everything happening with that, and Queen Ramonda's death was just done so well. Pacing, I'm going to give 7 out of 10. The longer runtime means that scenes have a lot more time to breathe and play out as they need to, but there were a good amount of times, like I said before, where it just kind of drags and you feel the runtime. It feels a little bit too long. So for our overall score of this movie, I'm going to give Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, 4 out of 5 Jeff Goldblum heads.
Whoa, Let's go.
Should you watch Black Panther, Wakanda Forever? Yes. In theaters? Yes. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. This is different from what I would normally do, but I thought it'd be fun to, you know, try like talking about stuff, because I like talking about Marvel. I like Marvel. I think it's pretty litty and rad city. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.